So it's absolute lunacy. Like, if this is not performative, it's lunacy. It's even lunacy if it's performative.
Did correct me if I'm wrong, because my brain kind of paused for a bit there, but is this the cat? Did he just say that he would vote for the dictator?
That,
yeah, like what man?
And then proceeded to say, he said, well, if he votes the dictator, would you be okay if he killed
exactly.
you? Said, well, I'm not. He's not going to kill me. How the fuck do you know that?
The cognitive disconnect. What form of reality are they? I truly am at a loss for words. I'm trying to gather my thoughts.
Listen, you simply have to understand privilege, Brian. When you understand innate privilege, anything is possible. Even unrealistic things are possible. Because you don't believe that there's anything that's off limits. There are points where white supremacy, where it's debilitating for black folks because it limits our access, but for them it's debilitating because it erases their reality. They have no sense of what's real. Everything is on the table. So he actually believes in a world where he can live amongst a dictatorship that defends him, like that actually benefits him.
That hurts everyone else but him. Yeah, until that cannon comes around, or that lens, I should say, comes back around to him. The notion, or the white supremacist feeling and belief, and I assume I'll just do a level set to make sure we're not talking about, when I say supremacists or white supremacy, that doesn't necessarily mean that, the KKK hat wearing, but it's the mindset. Because I understand that, people come in and out of the space who may not, we may say stuff that they may not get, and forgive me if I'm being too simple in that, but the mentality that you're superior, the feeling that you're the entitlement, the feeling that like the previous dude who thought he was a Native American, that mentality that if others who do not look like you gain equality with you, then you're losing.
It's the same delusion. It just manifests itself differently. If you're talking about people from, we can add people in there from the KKK, because they're
absolutely. I was gonna build it up.
People. They're poor whites. They have no access at all, other than just being white. And yet they still feel superior to those who are in the same financial situation as them. And so it's absolutely applicable.
Was this only like the third one?
No, he's like the fourth, but it's the fourth. Trust me, it gets worse than him.
While we was now got my ebonics going. But while we were listening to this, I went and found the YouTube. So I'm gonna try to watch. I commend you, brother. An hour and 40 minutes is one thing listening, but I do believe that when there is video available for some of these things, it is beneficial to watch, even though I will center it, even though I may believe and know from facts that and observation that some of these cats can't be saved, but to watch, like you said, they are among us. And I'll pause, but one of the things that got me, a reminder to me, after the 2020 election, I'm going to go back to that, just looking at the numbers of that, because those are numbers that I still recall off the top of my head. President Biden won by, it was 77 million, and the orange one lost, but he still had, I think, 72 or 73 million. And, that's a total, 150, 160. That was basically basically almost half the country that voted. So there's still a whole other portion out there that may have that same thought process, mentality, perspective that didn't vote. And like you said, they're amongst us. We work. They're at the freaking pharmacy. They're at the repair shop when you go to get your car fixed. So how do we? And maybe this is just a thing that I think on. I don't know if there's an answer how to navigate that space. You know, there are some people who are Republican who are saying and believe in the Constitution, and then you have extremists, MAGAs, whatever, that want to, like this cat, like these cats so far, want to see the shit burn, like, period, except for white people. And I don't know how I can't have a conversation like Mehdi just stopped. Like, dude, I cannot have a conversation with someone who is opposed to me when their opposition of me is rooted in my, death and murder and ultimate annihilation. I mean, how do you have a conversation like that? You don't, yeah.
That's exactly why you should stop. When you watch the video, you'll see that during this conversation, after he's established that he is a fascist, by his own admission, by the way, the conversation led him to that point. And he said, well, what can I say? He said, well, you can say that you're a fascist. He says, I am. That's what I am. So by his own admission, he is at that point, and then he just stops talking. There's nothing else to say. What can you possibly say? But what you'll notice, I want to give away, but I can say at least this much. There will be people during the course of this conversation who think that Mendy was wrong for not continuing a conversation with a self-identified fascist. They think that there's actually some conversation there. They think that, but this is based on what? This is based on their belief that in free speech, which is a part of the Constitution, which is a part of what he doesn't believe.
Like, dude, man.
How do you have this conversation with people?
But he told us, he said he wants to keep the parts he likes. That's what they feel like. They want to pick.
I think your phone.
Yeah, Brian, your phone's going out.
When the guy said that he was a self-proclaimed fascist, did the rest of them start clapping?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that was the chilling part for me.
At which point, Mindy looked around like, listen, I'm looking around because I want to see who these people are, because you're going to be the people that get attacked by these millions of people that identify you as fascist when they watch this. And he's exactly right.
That was some weird shit.
Man. I say that all the time on here. If we could actually see the people that we were talking to on here, you probably wouldn't even talk to them. I'm dead serious. Like, you only see caricatures. You see pictures of whatever they want to present to you. But if you could actually see them in real life, you probably wouldn't even enter in a discussion with them. I know I wouldn't.
Yeah. People don't realize that, but a lot of these people on here I wouldn't even freaking give a conversation to. Child, this is a mess.
Well, to that point, I mean, that's why when Lisa says, and I'm trying to be lighthearted, but when she says, ping in your MAGA friends, and I comment like, look, to me, that's an oxymoron, because I don't have the bandwidth or the even remote energy to engage with someone who has I can engage with people who have respectful disagreements with me, because I don't know everything, and I am trying to learn throughout this rest of my life. But when some of these cats, like this dude, on a fundamental level, like, no, it is not worth my energy, and it is not worth my currency of time to engage and to be connected with people like that. And another thing, yeah, this reminds me on another thing. Like, I think, if not with all the cats Mehdi has engaged in so far, and this is a minor point, I guess, but the fact that I see it here on the app, or see it, I hear it. Like, when he actually agrees with them on something, they keep arguing. I'm like, mofo, he agrees with you. He agrees with you. It's like it's short circuit. It's like a syntax error. Like, oh wait, he actually agreed. Well, I'm gonna keep arguing because, oh shit, that's what I've been programmed to do. But he agreed. Like, bruh, or sis, or whoever did. Like, man,
You know what that's about, though. That is about, because that, obviously it's about many things, but most of it's built into their identity. They have attached themselves to this identity, and it just says no matter, and it simply says, I don't agree with you. Even when you agree with me, I don't agree with you. I just don't agree with you, no matter what you say. Even if we can find a place where we agree on certain things, but they all because they perceive that as the same device that they use it for. They use it, they think that you're trying to build a bridge with them to find commonality, and they don't want to find any place, they don't want to find any commonality with you. They think that you're using it for that reason.
Then they'd have to acknowledge that you're human.
That's exactly it.
My bad, Patty. Go right ahead. I got a half day today, so I'm sitting here like, all right, this is gonna be my entertainment.
Oh shit! Hold on real quick. I hope it is. Start over.
Build and manage your own airline empire, where every detail matters, and you're the boss.
Say the same. Thank you. Good to meet you, sir. All right, so I kind of want to start at the basics or the foundation. I want to see. Can I just check? Yes. Are you a fascist? No. Okay. I describe myself as, I think, just a Christian. I'm a devout Christian. Good to hear. So, I want to start, like, what is your connection to the Constitution, and why do you love it so much? Like, what makes it so important that Trump would defy something like the Constitution? Or some great questions. My first connection is I'm an American citizen. I naturalized American citizen, took a pledge to this country, to the Constitution. As a previous speaker said, the Constitution's not perfect. A lot of things I don't like about it. I don't like the Second Amendment. There's the various amendments. I don't like the way the Senate's set up. And I'm sure there's things you don't like about the Constitution. The difference is, I don't think you can just illegally defy the Constitution. I think each and every one of us can just make up whatever we want. Certainly presidents who are elected with an oath, right? Donald Trump took an oath to preserve, protect, defend the Constitution. And now when he's asked on television, isn't it your job to uphold the Constitution? He said on NBC, I don't know, which goes against his oath. And I'm identifying specific amendments where he is violating. He's only 6 months into his presidency, defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He wants to defy the 22nd Amendment and be president for a third term. This is the problem we have right now. Free speech is under assault. The free press is under assault. Due process is under assault. The right to be in your home and not be invaded by federal agents, the Fourth Amendment, is under assault. So that, for me, is a problem. Okay. But I'd like to start to say I really don't find the Constitution that important. I find it to be like a 300-year-old document. And it was created to defy the country that subjugated your ancestors in India. And then your parents probably moved from India to Britain. And then you move here to tell us that we should listen to a piece of paper that you were never even connected to begin with. So I want to say, like, if I don't care about it, why do you care about it so much? How do you run a country without any kind of laws or due process? And by the way, you do care about it, because without the First Amendment, you wouldn't be sitting here. Well, I agree with the First Amendment, and I think. So do you agree with Donald Trump's crackdown on the First Amendment? He's imprisoning people for their speech. He's threatening free speech media organizations. He's threatening peaceable assembly. These are all rights under the First Amendment. Why aren't you bothered by that as a conservative who claims to love the First Amendment? So I don't like the First Amendment. I like free speech. Okay, so the First Amendment is what guarantees free speech. I'm from the UK, by the way. I'm from the UK, and you guys do the democracy. We don't have the First Amendment. No, so that's one of the things I do like about the Constitution. I wish the UK did have a First Amendment. So people, the journalists, arrested for praying outside abortion clinics and stuff like that. So you're opposed to people being arrested for speech crimes. It depends what it is. If it's like, so you like one of the previous speakers, you don't know. As long as it's someone who agrees with you, you don't mind. No. I consistently support free speech 100%. Okay. I don't think. So do you think Donald Trump is defying the Constitution by cracking down on the First Amendment? So I think he's cracking down on free speech, like the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil, who's just released from prison by judge, saying his First Amendment right to violate. And I agree with the judge, and I disagree with Trump deporting them. But I think that's more a matter of free speech and not the Constitution.
That's what
I think that's pedantry at this moment. I think you've conceded that he is cracking down on free speech, which is the First Amendment. So he is defying the Constitution. So it's a pleasure to be in agreement with you, sir.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your
Thanks very
seat.
much. Great to meet you. My name is Kai. Do you, Mehdi, believe that the Constitution is important and good? Overall, yes. Do you believe that that Constitution can be eroded through democratic processes? What do you mean by erode? Is the original intention of the Constitution being destroyed through a purely, democratic or legal process? I'm not sure I agree with that. Okay, I think if you're democratically amending the Constitution per the rules of the Constitution, that's fine. If you could find a constitutional way to get rid of the Second Amendment, I'd be pro that. So let's pose a hypothetical where the entire population of the United States has drastically changed, and the population now has completely different intentions about what to do with the country. Let's say it wants to give it all back to Mexico, dismantling the United States of America. If that's the case, then what's the use of the Constitution? It hasn't defended the country. In fact, it's allowed for its destruction. I don't understand the premise. How did the whole country? Demographic replacement, mass migration. I mean, we're seeing a change in demographics. There's what is I do want to talk about immigration today. Everyone talk about it. Everyone's itching in this group to get into immigration. Yes, sir. I've saved it for you all. But given we're on the sense of the Constitution, and you asked the question, what is the proportion of immigrants in this country? What proportion of the population is foreign born? It's very difficult to measure because the projections of the number have been changing more rapidly. What is currently? The best estimate of I think it was about 15%. Yes. Yeah. Just under 15%. Which is, by the way, more actually than the original estimate was. So we have 15% of the people are going to change the country, change the Constitution. How's that going to be? It's actually a nightmare. As someone who wants to amend the Constitution and get rid of things like the ridiculous way the Senate is set up, the Second Amendment on guns, various other things, it's really hard to change the Constitution. They made it almost impossible. The last time we had a Constitution amendment, like 20, 30 years ago. I understand, which is why I think members of Congress pay. Which is why, no, I get it. Where are you getting this scenario where 350 odd million people all become foreign-born migrants or the children of migrants, immediate migrants, even though America is a nation of migrants, and then abandons the Constitution and gives the country back to Mexico? Outside of your imagination, where is that happening? Let's bring it back to the actual discussion. What you did, please, you entertained my hypothetical, but then instead of sticking to the point of the Constitution, you said, well, how would you bring about your hypothetical? And then when you missed out, I thought, well, the Constitution is quite hard to change. Hold on. I understand that. I also wanted to get a sense of where you are, and you're a great replacement guy. So. okay. Yeah, you're a real good journalist because you don't talk to people who identify as like a political ideology. I mean, that's I don't debate fascists. I'll talk to them. Frankly, that's upsetting. I think there's a big problem when we value freedom of speech so much, but any real journalist is not going to talk to somebody because they identify with the politically incorrect ideology. Just talk to the guy in front of you. What are you talking about? You literally stop talking to him, and then everybody gets to vote. Debating versus talking is very different. Okay. It's pointless. Okay, yeah. He doesn't believe in free speech. Okay. He doesn't believe in democracy. He was freely speaking with you. You're the one who shut up. No, he said it very clearly. Okay, so I support free speech. So that I can get one election. After one election, my guy comes in, and after my guy comes in, nobody gets to speak or vote again. We all listen to your conversation. We listen to your conversation. Let's bring it back to this topic. Let's bring it back to the Constitution. Please do. First, Fourth, Fifth, 14th Amendments. Those are the ones I'm saying Trump is defying. Do you support that or do you die them? I believe that the Constitution is valuable because it represents particular interests of the founding stock of Americans who made this country great. Do you think due process is important? Some would say that's at the very core of American Constitution. And what I think makes the Constitution function, what allows it to save this country and to actually make it work, are the people who are... I'm not sure where you're going with this argument. Hold on. Trump define the Constitution. That's my claim. You can have these weird hypotheticals. We're taking it into a different manner, which is what's the function of the Constitution? I'd rather not have your... You already did. Yeah, but now just 5 minutes ago when you took it to immigration. Now I don't want to. Okay. Let's bring it back. I want to bring it back to the First, the Fourth, the Fifth, and the 14th Amendment and the 22nd Amendment. Either you say you got two very good positions. One is to say I don't think he's defying them, and I'll say well you're wrong. Or you say I don't care that he's defying them, as one of your colleagues said. In which case, I don't know where this conversation goes because you don't believe in democracy. That's fair. example of the Constitution? So there's two options ahead of you. Do you agree? This is important. Do you agree? Do you think Donald Trump did? Okay, let me ask a question about it. You're asking me questions. You're not answering the basic point. Well, can you think Donald Trump is dismantling the Constitution? I want to agree that Donald Trump is dismantling, because I'll agree with you on that. I think he is dismantling the Constitution. I think he's legally unconstitutional. I think he's interpreting it in ways that are more. Which judges do not agree with him on. Okay, which the Supreme Court has not agreed with him. And the judges don't agree with the people who wrote the Constitution. How do you know that? Okay, let's take your example of the Second Amendment. Let's say that a bunch of judges. The Second Amendment. No, that's the first. Fourth. You don't want to talk about it. You're interrupting me. You're ignoring. Fourth, Fifth, 14th, 22nd Amendments. Those are my amendments that I came with. If you don't want to debate them, just say so. I'm trying to understand your ideology. Say so. You believe that dismantling the Constitution is okay when it's about parts of the Constitution that you disagree with. You would be fine getting rid of the Second Amendment, even though that would be a dismantling of the Constitution. No, because it would be done by a Constitution means I'm not the one sitting here. Like your pal, you have agreed the Constitution just get rid of the willy-nilly. I don't agree. Ramping up. I don't agree that Joe Biden should come in and say by executive order, if Joe Biden put out executive order saying Second Amendment no longer applies, I can round up everyone's guns. I don't agree with that. Your result is exactly the same. No, but I don't agree with the method of doing it. It's constitutional. That's fine. It would have been defined as Constitution, and I would have said something. You can't bring yourself to say something. You've been sitting here for several minutes. All of your friends have seen me ask you several times, do you agree that Donald Trump has defined the First, Fourth, Fifth, 14th, and possibly 22nd Amendments? I understand he's defined the First Amendment. I understand that you came in here. What you are attempting to do is simply frame this conversation like you did with the first claim about Donald Trump. But then when anybody asks you any kind of question that presses you to the least degree, I said I would dismantle the Constitution, but I'm doing constitutionally. Okay. Executive order. So what I'm trying to get to is to prove to everybody who's watching that what you care about is not the Constitution and what it represents or creates. You care about the Constitution only insofar as it allows you to achieve your political worldview. We agree on that. No, I care about the Constitution because I don't think presidents should be fascist dictators and violate the Constitution. That's what I'm saying. You care, and he is different. I don't think the president should have the power to lock you and me up if we write an op-ed that he doesn't like. I don't think the president should be able to crack down on us if you and I decide to go protest outside his parade. I don't think the president should be able to deprive you and I of due process or come into our homes without a warrant. And I think that's on an agreement there.
All right, pause. You've been voted out.
It's good to meet you. It's good to meet you guys.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? So Trump is defying the First, Fourth,
Fifth, 14th, and maybe the 22nd soon.
okay. So I want to focus on the First
Okay.
and the Fifth.
Okay.
So you say that Trump is defying the First Amendment. Can you give me an example?
For example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events. A Trump-appointed judge said that was against the First Amendment. He's been cracking down on media organizations he doesn't like over their speech. If they say stuff he doesn't like, for example...
Cracking down how?
So, for example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events.
I can't go to the White House
the
either.
Gulf of Mexico. That's not how it works. They were already at the White House. He deprived them of access, so he punished them for their speech.
But are they allowed to go to the press?
Which is why a judge he appointed, Trevor McFadden, said this was contrary to the First Amendment. A Trump-appointed judge. He's called MSNBC and CNN illegal. Media organizations are not ipso facto
But that's free speech.
illegal.
He can call them whatever they want.
Attacking the media.
Yeah, he can
The
attack.
president as the executive.
Yeah, he can say whatever he wants. That's literally the First Amendment.
He can say whatever he wants.
Absolutely.
But the media can't say what they want.
They do.
But he's going after them. He's suing them. He's using lawsuits to crack down on the press.
They
Presidents
used
have not done that
lawsuits to
before.
give him 34 felonies that Hillary Clinton did.
No media gave him a lawsuit.
No, but people on the Democratic side.
We're not talking about the Democrats.
Okay. So he can call them whatever he wants because that's the freedom of speech. He can
He's
even
threatened to
discourage.
prison reporters.
He
He wants to he said reporters should go to prison for reporting. He threatened some of them with prison rape. Right? That is against the First Amendment.
Okay. How is that against the First Amendment?
You don't think sending reporters to prison for
Is he
reporting that he
sending them? Did he do that?
He wanted to. He said so.
Okay.
He would like them to.
I would really like to.
So other people stopped him doesn't mean he's not defying the Constitution.
So he
also
can
said
want.
if you turn up.
Excuse me. He can want to do something.
Yes.
That doesn't mean he will or he can.
Okay.
And I think he's very.
Let me give you an example of something he did do to the Associated Press. But okay.
Yeah, okay, so the Associated Press isn't allowed in the Oval Office, which is his office, that's his executive space. And they are allowed in the press room, just like CNN, The Guardian.
Which he thinks are illegal media organizations.
He can
He
do whatever he
calls the
wants.
media the enemies of the people.
You called him a fascist.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want.
Yes.
Yes.
But the president is I'm not the president of the United States with executive
So
power
now, okay,
to
so
crack
the
down on the
First
media.
Amendment only applies to the citizens, but not the
said that. Because Donald Trump runs his mouth more than anyone.
Yeah, absolutely he does.
And he doesn't just say stuff. As I said, he does crack down. For example, you Fifth Amendment.
Yes.
Due process.
Yes.
Judges actually said you have violated due process.
Yes, except for people kind of forget the Clinton, the 1996 Immigration Reform Act, where you can get limited due process when you have expedited.
American citizens?
No.
What about American citizens?
Who's getting deported? That's American.
American children have been deported multiple this year.
No. Their parents have been deported, and their parents say,
No, the
"I'm
father
going
was
to take my
American.
baby."
No.
Was mom legal?
We don't know because they didn't go to court, and the judge.
They don't have to go to court.
Yes,
That's not a part of the due process.
Are you a lawyer?
I'm very aware.
Are you a lawyer?
Do I have to be? We're making an argument
Are you a
now
lawyer?
we're making.
It's a simple question.
No.
Are you a lawyer?
Okay, we're making an
I'll
argument.
take that as a no. A Trump-appointed judge in the case, not some Marxist lefty judges you
I
people
don't
like to call them.
care.
A Trump-appointed conservative judge said it is illegal and unconstitutional to expel or deport an American citizen without meaningful process. He said that in April. So that was an act that Trump did. It wasn't a child. He got rid of an American citizen from the country without process.
So the
That's
child-
the Fifth Amendment violation.
Since I'm not up to date on that specific case, I'm sure you can. So,
Well, you weren't aware that American citizens are being deported. It's a pretty big story.
yeah, the
Maybe
child
if you
that
read the fake
probably
news, you might know.
What?
If you read the fake news, you might know what's going on. A lot of
Oh, how would I know what's going on if I read fake news? I don't watch CNN or Rachel Maddow. Sorry.
That's why you don't know that your fellow citizens have been deported this year.
My fellow citizens.
Are they not American citizens have been deported?
Okay, when a child goes with their... All right, guys, that's time. Please return.
Any comments?
They're all fucking stupid.
Yeah,
And there's nothing else to say. They get dumber as the show goes on. Well, then that makes
no
them
rational response. Yeah, there's no rational response. It's like it's like you're talking to somebody. They can't even. It would be a difference if their argument had some basis in rationality or made sense. You can't even say that. It's like it's almost futile to even like debate them.
Yeah, they have a problem answering questions. They can't ever stick to the topic. It's always a what about it. It's always jumping to like they can never address the issues that they're at hand.
It's because they don't
It's hard
understand.
to listen to.
You know what's crazy?
Right.
They actually agree with him. It's just it doesn't jive with what they're supporting, right?
Yeah, because if they can never admit, go ahead.
Because like if you listen to them speak, right? Like when she said she doesn't support them deporting U.S. citizens. Well, I didn't see that on TV. Like it's happened. So you actually agree the citizen deported. You do believe in due process, but you're not. I don't know. It's just weird.
They believe it's selective. They believe in due process as long as it doesn't hurt them, or as long as it only selectively benefits them. They honestly believe this. Like for us, we look at this and we say, listen, this should be applicable to all. When you are innately privileged, and I mean to the extent that it makes you like these people, it deludes your thinking into believing that literally this should work disproportionately to benefit you and no one else. For us, that is complete lunacy to listen to that. But for them, it makes all the sense in the world because that is a reality that they believe that they have lived with, and also that they believe that they are losing. They believe that in some way they are losing their elevated privilege in this country. You heard one of the guys say, that something he alluded to the fact that it should deport all the people who don't belong here. They can't ever identify who that is because that will erase the good bad binary, the one that their view of themselves as good people. They actually don't think they're wrong about this. It is absolute mental illness that they have lived with.
Yeah, it's also because they get their news from one source. I do believe that if they would widen their purview and get an assortment of news sources, that not many, but some of them will not have these views that they have, but they're fed a steady stream of propaganda, one worldview from Fox News, and at the exclusion of the people. everything else that's real, so that's their reality. In addition to that, if you notice, many can, I'm not sure if I heard somebody say this earlier, many can cut to when the Democrats do something wrong and be able to state that, but they never go get secure. They never can say Trump is wrong.
Right, because it's a part of they can't say that because it's a part of their identity. And that part of that identity suggests that you, liberals, leftists, whomever you may identify these people to be, are my enemy. You are my sworn enemy. So, in whatever capacity that exists. So whatever you say, I'm going to disagree with. It doesn't matter if it falls along the lines of logic. It doesn't matter if we find some commonality, some agreement. I'm not going to agree with you because you are my enemy. That is the extent. They don't have critical thinking skill. That has been eroded. It's been diluted by what they believe. That is almost a textbook definition of a cultist. That is what they believe. That is what they've attached their identity to. And because they do, you hear these conversations where they jump all over the place, trying to make it appear rational. But it's not, because they don't actually understand what they're talking about. They don't know the Constitution. And furthermore, they don't care about it, because it's all about what disproportionately benefits me and works for me. They have this really crazy really crazy belief that somehow the country has disproportionately benefited other people, immigrants, minorities, and has somehow excluded them from the process. This is what they believe. They live in I'll say this consistently. We live in two different Americas. We live in two different realities. That's why we look from across like, these people are absolutely nuts. Because we live in two different realities. And one has been forged for these people to believe that they should live in an existence by themselves that disproportionately benefits them.
To your point, and I said it at the previous break, but again, my opinion, but the notion that others, quote unquote, that are not white, who are making progress, is somehow a threat to their position. Like, how do you ration? Maybe it's a rhetorical question, but in my mind, I cannot have a good faith dialogue with an individual like that. I mean, like, there's a whole, if Connor or whoever, Jane Doe over here believes that, their position of whiteness, or their standing in the country of America is threatened by, say, one of my sons who goes throughout this life, gets a degree, or whatever, whether it's a degree or not, but, lives an honest living, that somehow that is a threat to them personally. That it makes me short circuit, and that's where, to extend upon what you're saying, like, that's what gets me. Is that, dude? So you feel that all, quote unquote, all these people need to be sent back to their countries. Not to mention that this ain't the only group of people that this country belongs to are the Native Americans. And the white folks who, like, again, the dude there was like, well, I'm a Native American, my people came, bruh, no. So the fact that these cats see, quote unquote, others as a threat to their standing, I don't know where you can have a conversation with that. I'll mute. I feel like I'm talking in circles and feeling deja vu from a previous stuff. Thank you, Patty, because this is listening to these cats it's a reminder for me.
If y'all see these kids' faces too, these don't look like how we'll talk about the Republican Party and what it looks like. You know, rural America. They're voting for their own. These kids look like kids. These kids are like the kids that's wearing the hat to the back.
Mm-hmm.
The little preppy outfit, like the jeans and the button-up shirts. They don't look like their parents are super rich, but they look like just suburbanites.
I mean, many